Hello, good evening, and welcome to Garblag Games. It's Friday. Got to get down on Friday,
Ah!
which means it's time for some more Blades in the Dark. We're going with difficulty setting Aaron tonight. He's going to be running us through a heist, so I expect new characters next week. I mean, we're only doing character creation, but we'll probably be dead in that as well. Full
You
of
never can
confidence.
tell. It is possible. But in all seriousness, I'm Aaron, and I am going to be your game master, trying to fill Josh's shoes, which in no way can be done. I want to say a special thanks to John Harper for creating this amazing game that we're going to be playing. I've been role playing games for over 40 years, and it's in my top 5 favorite games to play. So, thank you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and let my players introduce themselves. They're going to give you their name, who they are, character name and alias, and their playbook. Then we're going to dive into building their actual crew, fleshing out their characters, and then we'll see if we can't do as Ben suggested and find ways to kill them. So, Ben, why don't you start us off?
Oh, no pressure. Okay, I am playing the Whisper playbook, the magic-y one. I decided to go completely different direction to the way that Ty did it last time. So I am playing Drogo Ravo, commonly known as Placid, because he isn't. He is a former inhabitant of the Dagger Islands and doesn't like being associated with piracy. How dare you suggest such a thing? Honestly, just because he's from there. And he has a military background as an expendable, meaning he got sent into places with the expectation that he was going to die, and he kept not doing it, which is where he picked up his mystical abilities. And his vice is that he likes pranking cults. It's weird. He likes pretending cults are on the right track and setting them up to believe in their own rubbish.
He's going to be a lot of fun to see.
I do not have any compelling abilities for ghosts. So if you want me to talk to them, tough.
Jeff, how about you?
Oh man. Yeah, I'm Jeff. I'm playing what voice I do this? I'm playing Oleg Brine. Leadbelly is his name. He's a leech. But not one of them who makes things and people feel better. I make things and people feel worse. I break things and relationships, and machines, and bones, whatever you need me to break is fine. Akaros, my heritage, I suppose. And I was, at a time, I was once a respectable tradesman and tinker with all manner of device. But now I tend to wander off in a bit of a stupor as I puff, well, pretty much any chemical or spirit that I could possibly get my hands in my nose. I'm a stocky sort, but don't let that fool you. I'm quite delightful. Yeah.
And if anybody were to see him in this world, he would look somewhat like Bob Hoskins.
Yeah. Bob, so he's Bob Hoskins is how I picture from the Who Framed Roger Rabbit days. Like just, with various shades of like silver and off color around his face from where he huffs everything. But that's basically him. He's basically Bob Hoskins. That's all it is.
Fantastic. Ty.
Yes, I am playing a lurk, though I'm also from the Dagger Isles, though the opposite upbringing of military, instead the underworld as pirate. All they had the pirate lifestyle, met their best friend for life on this the number one vessel out there, and so it's their name is Oda Bangle. Their alias is Woo's Hiki, which basically just means demon monkey. As they have their their pal, Eye Patch, who is a monkey who is able to kind of like, they can share thoughts. Very Beastmaster, I think, if that's the old show. And they finally got out of the pirate business, and they decided to come here. And unfortunately, they have joined up with a bunch of lovely fellow people that probably enjoy stabs. And look-wise, they have they just fairly nice, as they tend to like to go gambling a lot, but specifically gambling in the more better off places in town. Their proprietor is Lady Dusk, and they have Oda has robbed a couple people blind at the gambling tables. Legitly, just, it's made a lot of enemies for Oda. That's for sure. Yeah, that's that.
Excellent. And Pat, tell us what you have for us.
Well, howdy, y'all. Today I will be taking on the role. By the way, my name is Pat, aka Spider Queen Long, and today I'll be taking on the role of Madame Asaria Bellevue, a respectable, gentle lady who absolutely does not love cold-blooded murder. She's not a sociopath in the slightest. And she's here to ensure that everything goes smoothly as the crews slide. She has a bit of a way with words, she's told, by those who haven't stabbed her in the back yet. And she's absolutely certain to ensure that we get away with literal murder. And as for her alias, she's sometimes known as the Mistress.
Very nice. We have a fifth player who is not with us tonight, but who will be back next week, and that's Lewis. He's going to be playing the Hound, known as Biscuits, and I'll let him fill you in on Biscuits next week. So after having met the cast of scoundrels, we're going to dive into crew creation. Now, from in the book, they say you create your characters first, which we've kind of done, and then you create your crew. Now, typically, what I like to do is create the crew first, so that then the players can decide what kind of character they want to play that fits within that crew. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to do the crew, then we're going to talk about the players, and if there's anything you want to change about your player character at that point, we'll go ahead and we'll take care of that. And then we will dive into the fiction. So we have elected to create a crew of assassins. Do we have an idea yet what our crew of assassins' name might be? Don't have to have one yet, but do you have any ideas?
That sounds like a no, Aaron.
I like it. Dead silence. So we'll back.
Maybe that's our name
for
right
it.
there.
Yeah. Our name is just ...
Or
It's just blank.
Cricket noises.
Yeah, the cricket noises. I like it.
Sneak up, bash him, and stab him.
It's an interest. I mean, it definitely puts your
It's advertising
out there. That's right. Speaking of advertising, though, we are assassins, but that doesn't necessarily mean you just kill people. So within the Blades of the Dark game, assassins are known for several different kinds of operations. Quite obviously, murder for hire, but they're also known for creating accidents that cause mayhem or murder, causing people to disappear, either because the people want to disappear or because they need to disappear or be disappeared. And then finally, they're also known for ransoms. So assassins can do all of these types of jobs, as well as any other type of job from any of the other crew types. However, if you're doing a job that falls within your preferred methodology, you get bonus experience points. So what kind of jobs do you think your crew is likely to undertake as a primary sort of mission?
I vote in favor of murder.
Yeah. Murder for sure.
Is everybody comfortable with straight up killing?
It's that or breaking stuff.
Both. Why not both? You can
You can do them
killing
all.
someone.
Yeah, I mean, we can
technically
do any of them.
breaking
That's a good point.
so it's fun.
Yep. Okay, so you're focusing on actual assassinations.
Okay, I've got it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm thinking of something based on like a soap, stain remover,
Ooh.
something that removes those stubborn stains.
Like lie.
Maybe not quite that explicit. Like a name for a Victorian soap brand or something like that. Washing powder or something. Or even just a laundry.
What about porcelain clean or something?
Mhm.
I like the idea of porcelain. But, linen, maybe.
Steve's
continue-
squeaky cleaners. No.
White linen.
That's from a Shadowrun game I played. He's making it.
Well, we'll continue to workshop the name as we talk about your reputation. So this is just your initial reputation. This is, as you guys are coming out the gate, you're a new crew. Would you be ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, or strange, or any other adjective that you would want to use to describe your reputation?
I quite like subtle, but I don't know how well we'll pull it off.
I'm not subtle. I'm gonna say right now.
Maybe we should go with professional then.
I'm
I
not
like the second
very
part.
professional either, but closer to that, I think.
And worry not, we can make up for some shortfallings if we're efficient in others.
And your
Also not
reputation
very
can
efficient.
and you could gain new reputations as your crew develops, and you can slough off old reputations if they no longer apply. But if you want, for the moment, we will go with professional.
That sounds
All right.
good to me.
Now, getting into the meat and bones of crew development. You start out with 2 coin, which I've already put on your crew sheet. You start out as 0 tier stronghold. So you're just out the gate. You've not really developed any kind of a strong presence in Duskfall yet. People have not heard your name. You're just at the very beginning of your crew's existence. Not to say that you're all novices. It just means that as a crew, you don't really have much of a name yet. Now we need to talk about your lair. And I know that Ben had mentioned that perhaps you guys have a lair inside Dundridge and Sons, or secreted behind it, or in an attic. Dundridge and Sons, for the people out there, is the most famous tailor in Duskfall. They've been making amazing suits and dresses for over 300 years. However, they're still reasonably priced, and they are located in the night market.
That was also
You guys
where
are-
I got the idea for the cleaning product branding idea.
So you guys good with that? Now, how would you know Dundridge and Sons? How would you have gotten this layer? Did they know it exists? Is it a secret layer underneath their company, or are they actively assisting you?
I
Like
like
giving
the
you
idea of
space.
them actually assisting, like knowing that it's going on. Yeah, I would imagine that if we managed to get a place there, it would definitely be through Pat's character, because that's the reputable one.
I like it. Okay, so you guys have you've got a lair, and I'm going to give you hidden lair for free. So you've got a hidden space behind Dundridge and Sons, where you're able to meet and plan your heists. At the moment, it's a fairly modest little hidden area behind their building, but you do know that it could be expanded on. There's unused space in the basement beneath it, and you could even blow out walls and take over buildings behind it. So it might have a modest beginning, but who knows where we're going to take it after that. The next step is talking about your hunting ground and whether or not you're going to pay off the gang boss who controls that hunting ground. And we're going to put that on the back burner because the first heist that I have set up for you involves that and whether or not you want to undertake it. I'm going to tell everybody right now, I've set up this first heist. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. And then all the heists going forward after this, it's you pick and choose. You bring them to the group. I'll throw some, fishing lures out there that you can bite at if you want, and if you don't want. So that being said, though, when you do establish a hunting ground, an area that you control, when you are preparing to do heists in that location, you would get an additional +1 dice on your gather information, and you get an additional downtime to prepare for that job. So that's the important part, mechanically speaking, of the hunting ground. Now we're talking about your actual crew upgrades. Now, for assassins, you automatically get training in insight and training in prowess. What that means is during downtime, when you train, if you train in either insight or prowess, you get 2 ticks of experience instead of 1. The assassins are the only crew type that gives you 2 training right out of the door. Like I said, I've given you hidden for free because I think your lair has to be hidden behind Dungeons and Sons. And since I'm not going to take away a crew upgrade from you just to make you take hidden, you get it for free. You get 2 other crew upgrades, and these can come from either the assassin-specific crew upgrades, which include things like assassin rigging, where you get to carry extra load, either weapons or gear for free as it relates to assassination. Iron hook contacts, that's if you've got people already in the prison that are looking out for you. Or you could have an elite band of either skulks or thugs. So these would be 1 or 2 people at your current tier that, in the show of the Sons of Anarchy, the guys who weren't sitting at the table, they were elite skulks and thugs. So you could go that route. In addition, there are standard crew upgrades that are available to all crew types. When it relates to the lair, you can have a carriage at your disposal. You can have a boat. You could actually have living quarters within your lair, so you don't have to leave the lair and go elsewhere to live. You could have a secure lair. There's 2 ticks on that. The first one is the lair basically has reinforced locks. The second tick would be when you get arcane protection for your lair. You could have a vault. At the moment, your crew can only store 4 coin. You've got 2 right now. If you got 1 tick of vault, you could have 8 coin. If you got 2 ticks of vaults, you could have up to 16 coin, basically as a slush fund for your crew. We've already talked a little bit about training. You could go ahead and get additional training in either resolve or personal training, which would go towards your special abilities. Quality is another whole section. I'm not going to go through all of it, but basically if you tick quality for any of those items, that's tier +1. So you're tier 0, so that would give you basically tier 1, access to tier 1 gear, which helps when you're dealing with enemies that are of a higher tier than you, because that will improve your effect against them. And then at the bottom, you could also get a different type of cohort, or you could get an expert, like you could hire a physician for the crew, anything of that nature. The 2 that I didn't really talk about, in the assassin specific crew upgrade, you can do 3. It takes 3 ticks to get it, but it's called hardened, and that gives you +1 trauma box, so you don't trauma out after 3 traumas. Or under your standard crew upgrades, there's mastery, and that takes 4 crew upgrades. But that allows you to get your 4th dot in any of your abilities. So at the moment, you're limited to 3. But once you get mastery, you can go up to 4 dots. So are there 2 other crew upgrades that you guys are interested in?
I would say that having a doctor would probably be a really good start, especially after what happened to Tyler last time.
Yeah.
I can't have anything damaging my face.
I'd be down to have a doctor.
Okay, so then, so you would like a expert physician. I will add that in.
And equally, that ties into the whole tailoring thing as well, because they're just really good with stitching things up.
Oh. Ooh. Didn't think of that.
In fact, that's what we're going to say. So it is one of Dundridge's sons who did not go into the tailoring business, is actually a physician. And he does help out in the shop, but he is also your crew physician. You guys have a second upgrade that you're interested in?
I'd be interested in that. There's assassin rigging, but also having like a thug to help about. We could extra, but I'm good with assassin's rigging. That seems pretty great. What's anyone else think?
I like rigging too. I like the picture that Belly is just walking around with 1,000 different pieces of gear on him anyway. So that would probably help lighten the load somewhat.
Definitely. So assassin's rigging good for everybody? All right. So you have assassin's rigging, which gives you 2 free load of weapons or gear. You have an expert physician. So he's a tier 1 physician now. So he gets 1 die on his healing checks. One of Dundridge's sons. You can name him if you'd like. You have a hidden layer, and you have training in insight and prowess. So that brings us to the next point of your gang is your gang's special abilities. You get 1 for free at the start. Those are deadly, which automatically allows you to immediately add 1 action rating to either hunt, prowl, or skirmish, maximum of 3. Crow's Veil, due to hard-won experience or occult ritual, your activities are hidden from notice from the Deathseeker Crows. So when you kill someone, the Deathseeker Crows do not come. So you do not get extra heat from killing people. Ember Death gives you the ability to take 3 stress to immediately destroy a person's body and spirit when they die. So again, that prevents the Death Crows from coming. Also gets rid of the body, but it does take 3 stress. No traces. When you operate quietly or make it look like an accident, you get half of the reputation you would get instead of getting 0. Because in this game, if it's completely quiet, you get no reputation from it because nobody knows it happened, which can be kind of harsh. You can have a patron. You get to have a patron that helps you advance your tier. So every time, when you go from tier 0 to tier 1, it takes 8 coin from the crew to do it. If you had a patron, it would only take 4 coin. And it gets more expensive the higher you go up in tiers. Predators, when you use stealth or subterfuge to commit a murder, you take +1 dice to your engagement roll. Engagement rolls are critical in this game. They really set up the heist. So these are all good. Viper, when you acquire or craft poisons, you get +1 result level to the roll. That really would only probably help Lead Belly a lot at the moment. But if you ever hire an expert poisoner to be, somebody that works in the back of your shop, that's a possibility. And then Veteran, this is the catch-all. You can basically take a special ability from any other crew's playbook if you want, and have it for your Assassin's playbook. But at the beginning here, for the start of your no-name Assassin crew, do you guys have a special ability you're leaning towards?
Crow's Veil definitely stood out. No additional heat for killing. That's probably a good thing.
Especially if we're going full murder, then I'm feeling Crow's Veil as well.
I concur.
All right, I like it. Crow's Veil it is. You guys, that's it. In all honesty, in my personal opinion, that's the best out the gate special ability, probably for all the crews put together. I mean,
Rule 1, don't get caught.
yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
I played in a crew of shadows, and I killed somebody every single session on accident. And so I'm just there to tell you, it's a good idea.
That's what I'm going to do
All
too. It's going to be accidents. Every time.
Every time. So last but not least, in finalizing your crew, except for your name, who is your gang contact? You've got Trev, a gang boss, Lidra, a deal broker, Iramina, a vicious noble, Carlos, a bounty hunter, Exeter, a spirit warden, or Savoy, a merchant lord. And this is somebody that can help your gang out, either help you get jobs or help you acquire assets. And throughout the game, you'll acquire new contacts, and you may lose old contacts. But to begin with, who's the person in your corner right now?
This one's got to be Pat's call.
Oh, bugger. I wish I was paying better attention to my game list.
You've got a gang boss, so it could be somebody that's trying to help get your gang off its feet. Mm-hmm. A deal broker, same kind of deal. It could be somebody who's going to be your fence, your fixer, your middleman. Mm-hmm. A vicious noble, so this person may be trying to sponsor you. Maybe they want some people dead, and they want to help get your crew off the ground. You've got a bounty hunter. I mean, he could be pointing you at targets that he can't take out by himself and wants some help with. You've got a spirit warden. That one of all of them, it probably doesn't fit your group as much. Really.
I'm thinking...
And then you've got a merchant lord. So somebody who's making money behind the scenes and might have people that he needs taken out.
Merchant lord or noble sound best to me. What do you all think?
Vicious noble for
vicious
sure.
Noble,
yeah, vicious noble, right? Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not just me. All right.
So vicious.
Delightful.
Lady Iramina. And Pat, since you picked her, I'll let you develop a little bit of a backstory for her and relationship between you and Lady Iramina for next time, or that you can introduce as part of a flashback.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so we've got a no-named group of professional assassins, and they are set. So now we're going to take a quick stroll through all the characters, make sure that everybody's comfortable with who they are, what they've got, and then we'll get into it. So Ben, I'm looking at Drogo, Ravo, aka Placid from the Dagger Isles, as you've described him. You've got Tempest as your special ability. Your dots are all filled out. Aquelin, a witch, is your friend, and Nerix, a possessor ghost, is your enemy. Is there anything you want to change about Placid?
No, I think I'm happy with his special ability. I was a little bit unsure because I'm looking at him maybe as a complete nutcase who just went a bit nuts on things, but I think I might actually subtle him up a little bit more because I think Jeff's got the dangerous nutcase thing sewn up there. So
more the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the breaking stuff guy, certainly, but one of the breaking stuff guys. No, I'm okay with him.
It.
Yeah, I think he's cool.
I like it. Placid is set. We'll talk about biscuits next week. Jeff, looking at Leadbelly. Got a buddy named Veldrin who's a psychonaut, i.e. a drug-addled man who likes to plumb his subconscious.
We chase things together.
And Stasia, an apothecary. And your special ability is Saboteur. Are you good with your huffing...
yeah, the only thing I was going to potentially change is going to depend on everybody else. If we were going to go heavy like ghost spirits, I would have gone ghost ward, but if we're not going that direction, then I'll stick with Saboteur.
It doesn't look at the moment like that's going to happen, but you guys can make quick changes before we get into
I mean, we're going to make lots of ghosts.
Yes. Yes. All right, Ty, I'm looking at Waziki. Is that Waziki?
Yeah, Waziki.
Okay. And I've got you as you took a veteran advance from the Hound playbook called Ghost Hunter. So you've got a mind link with your monkey eye patch. You've got a friend who's a locksmith named Frake, and an enemy, Rosalind Kellis, another noble. So it'll be interesting to see what her relationship is with the noble who is your contact with the crew. Is there anything about Waziki that you want to change?
Let's see. The only thing that was the background thing, but then we figured I've learned Underworld includes pirates and boats, so I was like, keeping that. The only thing is in regards to eye patch, I took Loyal and Savage.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't is Savage means that will they just randomly it says that they're vicious and cruel essentially.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
can I get an example?
Yeah, if for example, let's say you tell Eye Patch, you communicate with him that you want him to jump on somebody's shoulder and intimidate that person, Eye Patch would probably understand that through the mind link that you wanted him to bite that person's ear off.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Great.
That'd be intimidating.
It would be.
Yeah, it would. I think that's perfect.
Any opportunity, any orders you give him, if the opportunity to presents himself to escalate the violence in the situation, Eye Patch might do that. We might make a fortune roll to see, or you might have to make a sway roll or a command roll to stop him before he goes crazy. Not crazy, but pushes the.
Yeah, rip someone's ears off, crazy. That sounds. Yeah, everything about them sounds pretty excellent.
All right, I love it. Okay, Pat, I'm looking at Mistress, a refined Akarosi, a dilettante with a pleasure vice, and
you'll hate her pleasure. She's a sadist.
I love it. I love it. Personally, that makes me smile. Your special ability is Trust in Me, so you get +1D versus targets with whom you have an intimate relationship, which is good. I'll leave it up to you to keep a list of anyone you have an intimate relationship with, or introduce during flashbacks someone you have an intimate relationship with who you're dealing with at the time.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Love it. You still have an opportunity to select a friend and an enemy from your Sly Friends list. You've got Brill, a drug dealer, Bazo Baz, a gang leader, Clera, a tavern owner, Nerix, a prostitute, or Harker, a jailbird.
Excellent. I'm gonna say I'm going to say that my friend is Bazo Baz, the gang leader, with whom I've had some, a refined lady like myself needs some connections on the other side, as it were. And let's see, enemy. Let's see, Clyra, the tavern owner. I have made a scene in her establishment before. She doesn't like me coming in anymore.
And where is Clyra's tavern?
That's a good point. What would be the most interesting decision? You know the town better than I.
If it's an upscale area, it could be in the night market or in Silk Shore. Both are known for the nightlife. If it's like in a university setting, would be like Charter Hall.
Let's go with Silk Shore.
I like it. Okay. So, anything else you would like to change for Mistress?
I think I'm fairly good.
All right, I dig it. Okay, so we have our crew of as of yet unnamed assassins. We have all of our characters present. So how about we talk a little bit about the setting real quick, and then get into the job. So, for those of you out there watching who are not familiar with Blades in the Dark or with the city of Duskfall, I'm going to give you a little primer on it. The world, as it was known, ended in 847 of the imperial calendar. A horde of demons escaped from the grasp of the immortal emperor and sundered the gates of death. A mirror between the lands of the living and the lands of the dead cracked, and in some places shattered completely, letting the dead, the demons, and other worse horrors escape into the world. As the tidal wave of death blew through the gates, the sun shattered in the sky, the continents quaked and broke apart, the blue seas turned inky black, and humanity was brought to the brink of extinction. And yet the immortal emperor persevered. He, along with his SparkTech engineers, combined ancient sorcery and new technology to create great electroplasmic lightning wards, and the cities of the fractured empire became cages, with humanity trapped inside the filthy, overcrowded, night-blighted confines, and the rest of the world given over to the dead and the desperate. Leviathan hunters became the heroes of the Empire as they braved the Black Seas in order to harvest demon blood that gives life to the lightning barriers. Spirit wardens and their death crows became the enforcers who haunt the streets of the imperial cities, ensuring that the dead stay down and never rise again. And bluecoats became the people's jailers, ensuring that order is maintained at all costs. Our scene comes into focus high in the eternal night above the remaining lands of humanity. Akaros, Skovlin, Severos, Eruvia, the Dagger Isles, and even far-off Tychoros. We begin to slip lower through the dense clouds of soot and screaming death storms until we find a jewel of the Empire nestled on the northern coast of Akaros. It's the home of the Leviathan hunters. It was the staging ground for the Empire's unity war against Skovlin. It's the city of Duskfall, or as the citizens know it, the Dusk. It is a broken city cut apart by canals filled with night-black water. Wealth and power are held by the few, and secrets are the true currency of the city. Most people suffer and die. Slow deaths in sweatshops, in mills, in coal mines, just so the powerful few can live in gilded luxury and dine on something other than river eels and mushrooms. But not everyone plays by the rules of the wealthy and powerful. If you look closely into the dusty, dark cracks of the city, you might find a few scoundrels willing to do a job for you if the coin is right. And with that, we continue to spiral down deeper into the dusk, into Duskfall, until we spy a gondola making its way under the Coal Road Bridge, steering through the dense traffic of Merchant Way. It's early in the day, so the deep dark has faded to a twilight, and many of the craft on the river have doused their lanterns to conserve fuel. We lose sight of that gondola, however, as it passes through the canals of Char Hollow, only to find it again as it skims under the Azure Bridge. The gondolier is an expert and handles their craft with a deft hand as it slips into the smaller waterways of Silkshore, coming to rest at a dock at the southern end of the Bridge of Fortune. A few coins change hand, and our crew disembarks. You see in front of you a converted stone warehouse. It's lit by dozens of radiant globes, all giving off a slight reddish light from the flowers within. The entrance is dominated by an ornate revolving door, and the sign above the door reads, Kolyuchkas. There's a large doorman in a well-tailored suit standing discreetly by the entrance. He nods to you all and says in a thick Severosi accent, "You have been expected. Please to follow me." And then he turns and motions you to a smaller door to the right of the grand entrance. He walks through the door. "As you can see, we are not yet open for business at this early hour, so forgive the mess." As you file past him through the door, you see the interior of the club is decorated in deep red carpeting and actual wood paneling on the walls. This is an extravagance that you're completely didn't expect. I mean, wood is unbelievably expensive here in Duskfall. To the left, you see a coat check and weapons check stand. Again, the doorman turns, shakes his head. "Not for you. You do not need to worry. You are trusted here. At least for now." He says, just follow me." And he walks down into a sunken well of the dance floor. You see round tables skirting around its edges, and you see an elevated stage off to the left. There's no band yet playing there. And along the right-hand wall, running the entire length of the right-hand wall, is a dark mahogany and brass bar. And behind it, you see an obvious Taikarosi person with great horns coming down the sides of their head and 4 arms, stacking and restocking the bar. "Don't pay any attention to the bartender. He's got work to do." And he keeps leading you on, and he gets to a full-length mirror at the back of the room on the northern wall. And he turns towards it, and you see his hands just going through some sort of motion. And he mumbles something. And then he turns back and faces you. And he puts his hand through the mirror. And he goes, "After you. I must hold it open for you."
I'm going to step through, because that's a neat trick.
Thank you kindly.
"You're most welcome."
What a
So that Billy will do, like the head goes in for a sec.
Then you feel a slight shove on your back as he pushes you all the way through.
I cover eye patches, open eye, as we go through to make sure he doesn't freak out.
And as you all push through the mirror, he comes up behind you, and you're hit with a cacophony of noise as you walk into a casino. And there are dozens of people in this casino playing every game you can imagine. All right. For some, we're always open. For some things. But please, ignore them and follow me. As he walks through the room with you all, you see off to the left, you see scantily clad men and women leading patrons through a curtained doorway. And then off to the right, you see a hallway, and you can kind of hear sounds coming from the other end of the hallway. And there's a marquee there with a fight ticket on it. But he leads you straight through to the back wall and a large recessed metal door. All right. You're going to go in a moment. Just keep your wits about you. You'll be fine. And then he knocks on the door, and a hollow metal sound rings.
Should not be a problem.
We
We don't have biscuits with us. He is the only witless one.
They don't pay me to know things, so I don't want to know. You guys see a slit window open at eye level, and you hear a grunt from inside the door. And then you hear what sounds like some sort of mechanical clicking noise as the door recedes a little bit and then slides into the wall, into the left side. And in front of you, you see a tall, lean Akarosi man with a great bushy beard and wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a great coat over a very fine suit and a blood-red tie. He's looking you each in the eye, and you see these dark, dark circles under his pale eyes. Then he leans in and he says, "Mind your manners. Listen closely. Speak truthfully, and everything will be fine." It's at that point that you notice a scattergun under his greatcoat. And then he moves to the side and motions you in, and you see this beautiful office space, this giant desk towards the far wall, padded chairs. The lights are ghost lights, not even radiant lights, not gas lamps. They're ghost lights. And behind the desk, you see a woman sitting. I'm going to share with you a picture of her.
What was her name again?
She hasn't said her name yet.
Ah.
At least I was going to share a picture with you, but it has not come up. But so you see this woman. She's got black hair pulled back loosely, falling around her shoulders. She's wearing a very finely crafted dress, open slightly at the neck to show off a pendant. She has a large ring on one finger, and she's smiling, but it's a very cold smile as she looks each as you over. Well, I am Ilana Komarov, and this is my establishment. I think you've met my right hand, Horace Beck. As she says that, Horace moves around and stations himself behind her right shoulder. And then she turns her hand over to her left, and she goes, "And this is my left hand, Sasha Sandhart." You see a statuesque woman standing there quietly in a very formal Eruvian dress, buttoned all the way up to the top of her neck, with dangling gold coming off of her shoulders, wearing a white porcelain mask. Now that I have introduced you to my friends, I would like to be introduced to you. Now, I know from a mutual contact of ours, an associate, I would say, Bazos, I believe you know him, milady. He says to me that you are an up-and-coming crew, and that you may have a certain set of skills that I can use, and that perhaps you're looking for a home, a slice of the pie, so to speak. So, tell me who you are.
Well, it is an absolute pleasure of mine to make your acquaintance finally. I am, as you well know, Madame Asaria Belfield from Illyria. From Elysium. And this is my motley band. Yeah, and I gesture around. I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Hello. This here is my pal Eye Patch. I'm Waziki. And I bow, and I kind of look at Eye Patches, who then looks at me and goes, "Oh," and then goes, and then,
How very quaint.
Thank you.
Always with monkey. Madame, it is my very great pleasure. I am Rivo, Drogo Rivo. They call me Placid because they think it is funny.
Yes. Sasha has told me that a friend of hers, Quellen, knows you well.
Quellen. Yes, she and I. Well, it would not be good to speak of it. A gentleman keeps secrets.
It is good to meet your acquaintance, Placid. And you, my fellow?
Me, Oleg. Folks call me Billy. I don't belong to anyone here. I'm just myself. And when you say pie, you mean metaphorically, as like representation for wealth and everything, right?
That is correct. I do not mean literal pie. I do mean, in fact, an opportunity for you, for your crew, to find a place within my larger family. A place where you can operate out of with some protection, as long as you pay the proper respect, of course.
So you are the admiral around here, and you're looking for new captains.
That is one way of putting it. Yes, I hold responsibility for a fairly large organization. I'm not to say that I don't have masters of my own. And at that point, you do notice the ring on her finger is shaped like a bee. However, for this area, for Silkshore, I hold a great deal of sway. And that brings me to my problem. Would you like to hear my problem?
Of course. Our job is solved.
A couple of weeks ago, a gang of Scove mercenaries apparently arrived in the docks, and they came to my home. They settled in Fogcrest, and they took territory belonging to me and mine. Now, I was willing to think that perhaps they simply did not know how business was conducted here in Duskfall. So I sent an emissary to speak with them. In fact, I sent them my nephew. I have no children of my own, and he was my sister's only son. But he had potential. He went... Well, I'll get to that. The following morning, he was thrown out of a carriage in front of the Silkshore Precinct House. Now, a few friendly bluecoats recognized him and took him to a physiker that I know who works for me. And they called for me. Mr. Beck, Sasha, and I went to see my dear nephew. And what I saw was a man. Well, not much more than a boy, but a young man, whose fingers, all 10 of them, had been cut from his hands, whose eyes had been scooped from his skull and his eyelids sewn shut, whose tongue had been cut out of his mouth and burned to a stump. It's my understanding that in Scoveland, this is called the walking death. No longer can you feel, see, taste, but you're alive, and no spirit wardens or death crows come to collect your soul. That's how this gang of cutthroats left my nephew. She reaches into her desk and pulls out a spirit bottle. I could not stand to see him suffering like that. Now, there has to be an accounting for this. They showed me great disrespect by even coming here, and even greater disrespect by attacking an emissary under a flag of peace. So here is what I offer to you. I want you to go into this block of row houses that they have claimed. I want you to take their leader, a man by the name of Ingolf Holgerson, and I want you to bring him to me, alive. I want you to march him through this establishment and into this office 3 days from now at the hour of silver. I'll be meeting with all of the other gangs who answer to me, well, to their captains. And I want you to march this individual, bound, gagged, and naked, past them. I want you to sit him in a chair in front of my desk. I want you to put 2 strong boxes of coin on my desk. I want you to nod respectfully to me, and I want you to turn and walk away. If you can do this, I will pay you 8 coin, 2 of which up front, so you will be out nothing. I will also give you those row houses, that block on the corner of Feta Lane and Steep Street in the Maze, as your own turf to manage for the family. In addition, anything you find within those row houses is yours to keep. If you can, avoid the rest of his gang. I would prefer that he simply disappear without a trace and leave them confused. However, if you run across them, every one of them must die, and no death crows can be seen flying over my territory. Is this something that you think you can do for me?
I don't doubt it, lady. Certainly within our range of abilities.
You honor us if this is possible.
I am very happy to hear that. I had heard good things of you from Baz and from Quellen, and I hoped that we could come to an accord. I will tell you this now, though. Ingolf Holgerson was a wily veteran for the Skovlanders during the war. He led elite troops behind the Empire's lines and won't be taken easily, so you will need to prepare yourself. My understanding is he has a gang of 10 or 12 at his disposal, but they're mere ruffians. If we are good, I will have Mr. Beck here escort you to a gondola that I have waiting outside the club, and it will take you wherever you wish to go. And I will not see you again until you succeed in 3 days at the hour of silver. And with that, she looks down at her desk and goes back to paperwork, and Mr. Beck just nods to you and leads you back out of the office.
I curtsy on my way.
As you're walking back through the casino floor back towards the mirror, he's like, listen, this is an audition. Obviously, it's an audition. Can't tell you much other than what she said. But these are hard hitters. I fought in the war. I fought against their kind. Just be prepared. And that's the last thing he says until he gets you out to the gondola. And then he tips his hat. He says, good luck. The gondola
Thank you.
driver looks at you and he's, where can I take you?
Oof.
That's how we go.
First, I
American?
think some food. Let's have dinner.
Yes, a good place to have conversation. Discuss as possible.
Let's get taikarosi. I like the spice.
Very well.
That sounds perfect to me.
So where do you think you're going to head then? Yeah, into Silk Shores, the night market?
Probably night market, I think.
All right, so the gondolier takes you to night market, no charge. Apparently, he's already been paid. Drops you off at the docks. It's late afternoon now, so full dark has fallen again. All the radiant globes and lanterns are in full swing, and you see hawkers walking up and down the street, seeing if anybody wants an umbrella man or a lantern man to keep the drizzle off their head or light their way.
I
The
thought it
gondolier,
prudent not to show gondolier where we live. I'm sure she probably already knows, but let's not go foolishly advertising.
Of course.
so she actually drops you off near a very famous taikarosi restaurant. And when you go in, there are 2 taikarosi working there. One is obviously the cook, and one is working the front desk. They are identical in appearance, with a very mottled purple skin and no eyes. However, it looks like they can see.
It's a neat trick.
Come on in. What can we get for you? We have prepared the river eels today with such spice as will make you weep blood.
That sounds like a good promise for Leadbelly. What do you think, Leadbelly? Weeping blood from spicy eel?
Right, can you actually serve it with blood? Do that be, like a sauce on top?
Well, that, of course. I mean, that is the sauce that it's served in, eel blood. We thicken it with a little bit of goat cheese. It's delicious. But eat it quickly because the cheese will go off if you do not.
No one's ever accused me of being a slow eater.
Well, then, sir, you've come to the right place. We'll keep the food coming as quick as we can. And if you'd like, we have a very, very fine vintage of mushroom ale.
Sounds delightful.
I'll take 2.
Discerning indeed. And then they go back. They're preparing your meals. They're leaving you alone. They obviously understand. This restaurant's also known for its discretion, so they're leaving you in a quiet corner.
All right, so one guy out of a crowded row of houses without any other guys noticing is doable.
Yeah, shouldn't be any issues. I think we can do it.
We should, of course, figure out exactly what the situation there is.
Yes.
Oh, me and iPatch will have that covered. No problem.
Location.
We're going to need to throw away his bravos, yeah? What do you think, Leadbelly? Should we break some of this stuff?
Right, so I was a bit confused at one point. Like, we can't kill him, but we can kill all the others, right? That's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we lure him away, and then we kill all the others.
Or we lure them away and kill them, and we go catch.
Okay. All right, that checks out. I'll look both of those plans.
So, does somebody want to do some information gathering?
Yes. I'm not sure that we can do so in this exact location, but I think my character, at the very least, would like to do information gathering.
Well, that's the thing.
So
this is
basically,
the information gathering bit, and then we all do our little information gathering bit, and then boom, heist territory, baby.
Exactly. So this is sort of, you fade from the dinner as you guys finish your meals, talking about some ideas about how to approach this. And then for the next couple of days, we have that gather information montage. In addition, since you're not allowed a downtime before this first heist, if there's some sort of downtime like activity that you want to do, like acquiring a particular asset based on your plan or something like that, I will allow this because your lead up, you don't have a downtime before the lead up of this heist. So in our as the scene shifts and we see this montage of you guys out and about doing the voodoo that you do, what is it that you try to do?
So I think Madame Asaria is going to use her assets to their best ability and perhaps, quote unquote, consort in the general vicinity of their territory, whether that entails being a bar lizard for the night or presenting as a very high class escort of some sort. She's going to try to encounter in a somewhat disguised state the individuals who she will be later on facilitating the murder of.
I like it. All right, so we'll set the scene there. There is a tavern in Fogcrest on the corner of Coffee House and Steep Street, which is right south of the maze where this row house is. And it's not a disreputable bar, but it's a rougher crowd than you'd find in Silk Shore and other parts of Silk Shore or Night Market. It's early evening as you stroll in, and you do see that quite a few of the people in the bar are Scovelanders, but the bartender himself is Akarosi.
Sorry, my roll 20 just died. Does anybody else have any issues with it?
Not currently.
It is the nature of the
Okay.
beast from time to time, though, isn't it?
Anyway,
Yeah.
so she's going to make herself at home here. Try to find a location at the bar that seems to be good for observing and also potentially encountering some of these gentlemen. And she's going to present as if she's in some sort of a huff.
Okay.
Desperately for a drink to soothe her.
Bartender comes over. What can I get you, ma'am?
Oh, anything, really. Something Scovish, perhaps.
Scovish. Well, that I can do. It seems to be all important these days. And he pulls a pint of a very bitter Scovish ale for you. The whole place is turned into Scovelanders. I think we may have lost Pat.
They do look that way.
All right. So we'll fade from the bar for a moment and take up with one of the three of you. What are you doing?
Would this be a period of time of like being able to like send eye patch to go scout things out?
Oh yeah,
Or-
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, in these 3 days, you can approach gathering information however you want. You can go send them to survey or anything you'd like.
I would love to send them to go survey.
So you do know that the section of the row houses is in the northwest corner of the maze, right at Fetter Lane and Steep Street. The maze itself is a very large block of very closely packed row houses and alleys. So it would be fairly easy to get into the maze and get to a location where he could spy on the row houses themselves, if you'd like.
I think that would be excellent. As long as I'm sure that with our two brains, the eye patch and I would be able to figure their way back out.
Oh yeah. Now I will tell you guys this. We haven't made a gather information roll yet, so this is relevant to that. These guys already recognize that they're in somebody else's territory and they killed an emissary from the gang boss. So they're maybe already looking for trouble. So what we have is I've set up a clock, and I'm not going to tell you how many pieces there are to this clock, that runs counter to your gather information. So as you're gathering information, things may be filtering back to them that somebody is looking into them. If that clock fills up before you finish your gathering information, then the gang is going to go on heightened alert, and that is going to affect your engagement roll. So, back to Eye Patch, back to Wazuki. You found yourselves the top of another set of row houses on the roofs overlooking the corner of the maze that's of interest. What are you looking for?
I would be having basically trying to see if we can notice just their types of movements,
Sure.
like the other group, and just like kind of like their to map out the routines.
I like it. Give me a survey roll. Well, you tell me what you want to roll, and I'll tell you how it's going to go.
I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. Survey, yeah.
Okay.
I know I have a point in it. With the whole mind link thing, is it just? It's just
You get
me
a bonus.
rolling?
You get
okay.
a bonus dice while you and Eye Patch are working together. So your you're in a controlled situation. You're on this roof alone. Nobody's looking at you at the moment. But your effect is limited.
Oh,
now,
okay.
You can push to a risky position. You get closer. You're getting a little more in their business for standard effect.
Or Devil's Bargain.
Or you can take a Devil's Bargain. And you can also or you can push yourself for an extra die as well. But at the moment, you are controlled, limited effect.
I would like to take a Devil's Bargain to change it from limited to standard. Is that right?
You can take a Devil's Bargain to get an extra die. You can push it. You can push it to standard if you take a risky position.
Got
you change your position to get the boosted thing on.
I got you.
And you can also change. You can change just the outcome. Like you can stay at controlled and go to standard effect if you push yourself and take 2 stress. So those are the 2 ways to change the outcome.
Let's do that then. We'll keep it controlled. I'll push myself and get it to standard.
Okay. So it's controlled standard. You take 2 stress. You get your survey plus 1 extra die for eye patch. Did you want to hear a Devil's Bargain?
I'd love to hear Devil's Bargain. Yes, please.
The Devil's Bargain is regardless of the outcome, you get noticed up there by somebody, and 1 tick on the clock is marked off, regardless of what your role is. We'll be back at the bar with Mistress in a moment.
That's I don't think I want to mess up that issue for everyone to make it so that another tick pops up, unless there was some way that I could somehow hunt the guy down and but we'll
go right ahead and tick the hell out of that clock. I've got no problem with it.
Then I'll
take it myself too.
All right, then yeah.
Okay.
Yep, Devil's Bargain.
So you take the Devil's Bargain. You get 1 extra die, and
cool.
You click 1 piece off this pie.
All righty.
So
that means
controlled standard effect.
Standard. Awesome.
And you get a 6.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So you and Eye Patch are up there, and you're looking around. You do notice somebody on the roof of the row houses spot you momentarily.
Yeah.
They may not be paying a great deal of attention to you, and then they pop back into a door, and you see where they were out on that roof because they're boarding up entrances to the roofs of this row house. What you notice from what you were looking for is you only ever see 2 people leave the building at the same time. And it looks like they're making tracks through the maze, and they're probably strong-arming people, working some sort of protection racket. But only 2 people ever come out. You never see more than 2 people out there. And since you've got a 6, based on what you've seen, you don't see anybody that fits the description of the man you're looking for, Ingrid Holgerson.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Back to the bar. So you've sidled up to the bar. The bartender has poured you a Skovlander ale. What would you like to do?
So who around here? So have I? I presumably don't have any idea as to what the members of this gang look like quite yet.
You were given a description of their leader, a big bald man with a long mustache, always wearing fine clothes, with a fine Skovlander breastplate. He's never seen without his armor. And he's never seen without his large crescent moon boarding axe. None of the men in the bar fit this description, but almost everyone in this bar is Skovlander.
Mm. So, let's see. How do I want to play this? I think she's going to drink her drink rather quickly, and then pretend she's a bit buzzed. and she's going to start saying stuff like, presumably at the bartender, but perhaps anybody who would listen. Stuff like, "Oh, I'm just so worried about her. When she's, you see, my daughter. She was around these parts not that long ago, and I'm so worried that she fell in with the wrong sort. She kept going on about this tall, bald man that she thought was rather handsome in a breast coat or something. I haven't seen her in a week. Do you know anybody who might fit that description?"
Are you trying to consort with this with the bartender?
Yeah.
Or
So
the bar
she's
in general?
probably, I'm gonna say she's kind of willy-nilly, like talking to people and trying to gain information by spinning this yarn that her daughter, fictitious, is getting into some sort of gang activity.
Okay, so it's
Being
risky.
rather blabby about it.
Yeah,
So,
it's risky because you're in a relatively dangerous part of or a relatively dangerous bar. Standard effect.
Mhm. And what would the devil's bargain on this look like?
Devil's bargain on this one is the same devil's bargain that I gave to Wazuki and Eyepatch. Everybody in here hears you say that, and a little bit of that information filters back to this gang that you guys are targeting. And one tick on the clock would tick off that causes them to heighten their security.
All right, and where are we at on that clock right now?
You don't
Just one
know.
of four?
One tick. Only one tick has been ticked off, but you don't know how many pieces there are on the clock.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming the clocks usually have more than one or more than two ticks. So I'm going to go for
typically. Okay, I like it. So you get an extra dice for the devil's bargain, standard, risky standard.
I mean, it makes perfect sense that this would get back to them if she says what she says.
You got a 4, so it's a success with consequences. So one of these Scovilders comes up. "Hey, little lady. There ain't no way your daughter is messing with the chief. I don't know when she disappeared or where she disappeared to, but you got your facts wrong, and you should probably get out of this bar."
Good heavens! Or
The chief doesn't even leave his headquarters, not until everything in this area is consolidated. So there's no way. You got your facts wrong. Don't be spreading rumors like that around here.
Terribly sorry, sir. I didn't catch your name. I'm Silverhorn, Madam Silverhorn.
Madam Silverhorn, you don't get my name. And if you don't get out of here, you're going to get something a lot less pleasant.
Oh, good heavens. I've clearly come to the wrong establishment.
The bartender doesn't even look up. He's just wiping the bar.
I pay my dues and kind of get out in a huff. I do want to kind of, I don't know, maybe get a look at who this person might be associating with, what they were doing here before it came up.
I like it.
So
you light him up with a laser. I'll call in a drone strike.
So, are you trying to study him or survey him?
Yeah, I'm not good at either of those.
I mean, you can swing it however you want to try to swing it. What would you like to use to try to?
I realize now that I took a tune in character generation, forgetting what that meant. Can I drop one of those points? Because I have 2 in a tune for some reason. Can I drop one of those points real quick and toss that into survey? I know this is like
absolutely
Gen 1.
No. This is the beginning here. So.
Okay. I'm putting it into study then, and I'm gonna go ahead and roll study.
So it is, once again, it's risky, standard effect as you study this individual.
And is there a devil's bargain option on this one too?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a devil's bargain on this one.
All right.
He is going to notice that you are trying to eye him up, and he's going to sock you. Regardless of what happens, You're going to get 1 block of level 1 harm, gut punch.
Not worth it. I'm going to go ahead and be subtle about this.
And you can also 4. Okay, 4. So yeah, you were effective. You do study him, but with consequences. So I'm going to say the consequence is slightly less effect on this. You get some information, but not necessarily as much as you want. He goes back and he's talking to some other Scovlanders, and as you look, and you notice that they are all wearing the same military unit pin. They're keeping their cloaks together or on their coat lapel, and it was from a Scovlander unit, obviously based on the design of the pin. And you overhear him say, listen, boys, once they get the area secured, they're definitely going to be looking to expand. So we just got to keep it tight until we get word from the chief that he's ready to, check out the troops and see if any of us make the cut.
Okay. And can I devote to memory what these men look like? How many of them are there?
You see about 6 Scovlanders in the bar that he seems to be addressing. And yeah, you can get you get a pretty good feel for what they look like. They're all pretty big guys, all have that look of veterans to their faces, scars. They all have short red hair. It looks like they've recently hacked their hair short. They've all got beards. But yeah, you have a pretty good idea that you would recognize any of these men.
Okay. All right. I think that's my scene then. I'm going to. I've made some marks, and I'm going to report all of this information immediately back to my fellow teammates.
Okay, so Placid and Leadbelly. The mistress comes back. Kazuki and iPadge come back. They kind of fill you in on some information that they've found. Is there something you would like to do to gather information, or are you ready to just jump into some engagements?
I had one quick idea, and it's a montage type of thing. Leadbelly's a wrecker, breaker, tinker. We know that the neighborhood where this is going down, the buildings and such. Is it possible maybe Leadbelly might be able to get into a city planning office, city council, foundation, that kind of thing, and see if he can maybe reconnoiter a little bit of information about the buildings themselves, what's underneath them, weak points, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Look at the study is basically study some plans.
So that's controlled. Because you can just walk into the city planner's office. It's going to be controlled, standard effect.
Okay. And I will, because I think it's fun, I will go ahead and push myself on this, and it'll be a series of montages between me unfurling a giant scroll for a plan, reading it, turning to the side, looks like he's going to take a drink, but instead just huffs a bit out of a brown bag, and back to reading it goes. And he's very, very interested in what he sees.
I like it.
If that's all right.
I love it.
All right, so this is, you said controlled?
Controlled standard.
All right. Standard. So bonus dice for pushing myself, is that 1 extra die?
One die for 2 stress.
Thank you.
A pair of 1s.
Yeah,
Now,
good at all.
so this is controlled. So
Okay.
you can fall back, and you can approach the problem in a different way from a risky position. So you could go out and actually survey or study the block and to get an idea of the construction.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think he's more of a field man. You see, he doesn't really know how to read well.
I got that feeling.
These numbers are for. He just likes the pretty drawings. So maybe getting a better look at things.
Good.
So
you can fall back. You actually go back to Silk Shore. You head into the area around the maze. What What do you want? How do you want to approach this? You can still study if you want. It's going to be risky, standard effect. Well, risky, limited effect at this point. You can also take a devil's bargain. Push yourself.
The devil's bargain, I assume, would be the tick. Is that
right? Yeah. They're people are going to definitely notice you reconnoitering the row houses.
And if I don't advance this, just suffer the consequence of the failed roll, what would that be?
You would get no information at all about. You would see the plans, and they just wouldn't make any sense to you. You get no relevant information, and quite possibly there would be a tick off of the clock anyway, as somebody in the city planner's office might feed information to this Scovlin gang that you're looking at the plans.
I think I'm going to cut my losses, and I'm going to come back here and say, completely and utterly lying. Like, there ain't no plans. They hidden. They're not there. They're really well prepared, I didn't mess up at all.
It's fine. We don't want to break the place anyway if we're going to have it after, right? We want to keep it whole. Don't break the house you want to live in.
We can break one or two of them, right? Because it's more. We can break a little bit, right?
We'll talk renovation once we've done the job, yeah?
Okay. It's prudent to break bones before pipes.
Right, so we don't want to break the house. You've got the map. You know where they are and that they're military unit. I have a plan for something I wish to arrange. I'll be right back. So, my little montagey bit. I'm going to wreck it. I'm going to use one of the more subtle aspects of wreck. I was in the war. I was an expendable. So I have seen some fighting in the war, and I know what it looks like on the rougher side of it. So I'm going to say that my character knows some absolutely unforgivable Scovish insults. The kind of things that they would never, ever be able to let someone get away with doing in their territory if they expected anyone to take them seriously. And I'm going to deploy one of those ready to go. So it's going to be something that draws all of the attention of the Scovish guys onto it when we go to do the job.
Okay, so you're not actually taking any kind of action to gather information. That's just going to be part of what you deploy during the plan.
Actually, I suppose the information would be to find out more about which unit they were and really tailor that insult. Okay. So skirmish, maybe more than wreck then. If it's
you can go either way. I mean, I'll let you have. I mean, you tell me how you want to handle it, and I'll say.
It does say create distractions and chaos, so I want to really tailor this insult perfectly. So I'm going to talk to the locals, see if there's anyone around here who maybe doesn't give a shit about the Scovlanders. Would not be sad to see them go. And maybe get a couple of guys with pots and pans.
Okay.
But I'm going to gather some information using Rec to work out how to tailor this insult perfectly.
So we'll call that controlled limited effect at the moment.
Okay, well, I will push it to risky.
Okay.
So
risky standard.
I can make it a standard effect.
Do you want to hear a devil's bargain?
Yeah, go on.
Regardless of what happens here, Ulf Ironbound is going to hear how you're bad-mouthing the Scovlanders and this particular unit. And we're going to start a clock of Ulf coming to kill Placid.
Yes! Let's do it. I will take that.
It.
All right, so what is that? That's 2 extra dice or 1 extra dice?
1.
1 extra dice. There we go. Yep, I'm totally on board with that devil's bargain.
It's an 8-piece clock, and depending on this roll, we'll tell you how many pieces. A 6, okay.
Shaboom.
So no pieces. Well, 1 piece is filled for taking the devil's bargain. You learn that this particular unit was working behind the lines of the Imperial forces. They were primarily tasked with dealing with cutting off supply lines. So most of the people who would make fun of them made fun of them by implying that, all they dealt with were cooking utensils and food and weren't real Scovelander soldiers.
Perfect.
So something along those lines would work. But the people you're talking to are like, hey, listen, don't tell anybody that I told you about that, because regardless of the shit the other Scovelanders used to give these guys, there was nobody who hit harder than them. Their booby traps, stuff they did to those supply chains was horrific. I mean, people stopped shipping goods just because they were terrified that they were going to run afoul of one of this crew's traps and crap. They were insane. Don't tell anybody I told you.
Why are we going to take them out of the picture, huh?
I don't want to know.
Oh,
I don't want to know.
Okay.
And this guy scuttles back into his house in the maze. All right. So you've found out that they don't seem to come out of the row house all that often, and only 2 of them do, and you've never seen the leader. That they're doing some construction on the row houses because they were boarding up all of the roof entrances. You found out who the unit is and possibly how dangerous they are. How do you think you want to approach this job? A direct assault? An occult action? You didn't really do any gathering information about the occult, so I'm going to assume that one might not be in. Deception? Social? Stealth? Transport doesn't necessarily apply unless you've got something up your sleeve that I wasn't thinking about. How do you think you would want to approach this?
Still think we're missing some information. Why did they come here? Why?
Oh no, that's simple. That's simple. They've come here because they just want to set up. Lots of Scottish refugees. Lots of people come here. They get through. These guys, they think they're tough. They want to set up like new gang, maybe take over some territory, expand, get bigger. Piece by piece, grow themselves. So they're making statement at this stage. But it's like what you call them, head louse. You get a couple head louse and then many head louse, and then your whole head is itchy. Obviously not this guy, he's bald, but
Well, perhaps they might be interested in consulting with other headlines. Perhaps we could come up with some feign to draw out the chief. Perhaps some sort of other.
He doesn't come out.
Interested.
He's going to want his own people. I think. Okay, look. So I have plan, right? My plan. Mm-hmm. I need goat. I need 12, maybe 15 buckets, a wagon, and some cooking utensil. Ideally, one of Scoveland outfits, but we can make do. And we drive it past headquarters, shouting ridiculous insult at Scovish fellows inside. They have to come out to answer it. All of them come out with their X and they're waving and shouting. But, and this is where it gets clever, I then lead them away. And while I lead them away, the 3 of you go in, bonk on the head, out he come. I lose his little friends. By the time they get back to find their boss, he's gone because we took him away and, make him naked for the sexy vampire lady.
Does sound appropriate.
Sounds to me like you've just described the method for a deception operation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
All right.
You still need to come up with a clever way to get entry into his house office.
Okay,
think I might have a way. Can I do a flashback right now?
You can, or you can do it at any time during the heist. I mean,
all right, very well.
You may be better off waiting until the heist starts to see if
Brilliant.
you actually need it, because it's going to cost you stress otherwise. Okay, so I think we've got our method. I think we've got our mission. How we're going to approach it with deception. I think we have our method, and basically what Ben is describing here, I think, is kind of a setup action. So the deception is going to set up the actual infiltration of the building. I like it. Do you guys feel like you want to make an engagement roll for this? Because I'm excited to see how you do.
I'd love to. I'd love to see this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through the engagement roll rules. So you get 1 dice just because you're scoundrels, just for luck.
There you are, a delightful man.
And you're delightful. That is true. Is the operation particularly bold or daring? I would say yes, bold and daring. So that's a 2nd dice. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target? I will say yes, because Ben went through the process of finding a way to really piss these guys off. and that makes me smile. So that's definitely a dice. Friends or contacts provided aid or insight? Not really. Nobody. I mean, you guys, you did it all on your own. You did it well, but you did it all on your own. Is the target of a lower tier? No, he's not. I gave you guys a hint of that when I told you we had a crew of 10 to 12. So this individual is tier 2. Are there district modifiers? No, there are no modifiers for Silk Shore, so you're okay there. Disadvantages. You're at 3 dice right now. Disadvantages. Is the operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? I'm going to let you pass on that one. It's very, very much on the cusp there with relying on them to actually chase you when you would start insulting them. But I'm going to let it slide because I just love the approach. Is the target strong against this approach or have particular defenses or preparations? I'm taking a dice away from you there because they have been preparing this block, as you saw with boarding up windows and everything. And I hinted at potential booby traps since they took it over. Are there enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? Taking the dice away for that because you did fill up the clock. You filled up the 6-piece clock while you were gathering information, so they know somebody's coming for them. Is the target of a higher tier? They are. So you have 0 dice for your engagement roll. So you roll 2 dice and you take the lower of the 2. And that's the way I like to start the first dice. I mean, it puts you right on the cusp. So who wants to roll 2 fortune dice and take the lower of the 2?
Jeff, would you like to?
You can get a pair of 6s.
I mean, you did see my previous roll of 2.
Yeah, you can't get worse. You can't do worse.
Yeah, the rest of us have all rolled 6s tonight already, and
they're already gone.
There'll be negatives on these dice. I don't know. We'll see. Is there a way to do it? Or just want to roll 2?
If you look on your character sheet at the bottom of the right-hand column, it says roll fortune. If you hit that and put in 2 dice.
On the crew sheet, there's also a roll engagement button. Would that not be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can do it off the crew sheet as well if you've got it open. 5 and a 3, so you get a 3. So that's a failure. So you're going to be going in a desperate situation. So when Ben starts this off, it's desperate. It will be desperate to get them to either fall for it or not to kill him where he stands. However, and I know it's going to be a short stream tonight, but I don't want to get into it without Lewis's character here. I hate to see him jump in halfway through the heist and live. So when we start next Friday, we'll see the gang. We will see Placid draw. Oh, and by the way, 1 coin off of your crew sheet of your 2 coin to get the wagon, get the goats, get the costumes, get the supplies for your setup. So you're down 1 coin she gave you 2, so you were at 4, so now you're down to 3. So we'll start next week. We'll start the action with
We're still up,
Placid.
guys. We're still up.
Placid driving the cart up in front of these row houses on Steep Street, yelling obscenities at a gang of hardened Scovelander veterans in an attempt to pull them out so they can go in, bypass the defenses of this row house, and capture the leader of this gang. To remind everybody, it's a desperate action, limited effect, to start the game off next Friday. How can you not tune in for that?
Oh,
Am I
yeah.
right? And Ben gets to make the roll.
The characters in the
Gonna be
second half of the
fantastic.
session.
Could be. It's possible. That's why it's important. The crew is what lives. The characters, they may trauma out, they may die, they may go to Iron Hook, but the crew is what lives. The Son of Anarchy exists. Everybody else died. I mean, but the club still existed, right?
Mind you, that might be our crew name right there. Desperate
Well,
Limited.
I love that.
Actually, that's
Well,
pretty great.
You can push it. You can always push it to extreme standard, but that's very, very, very dangerous.
That does seem like a not good plan.
I will remind everybody, though, when you've got a bad engagement roll, you can always start out with a flashback to try to offset some of the horror of what is going to happen when you make that first roll. Keep that in mind. Everybody, thank you so much for jumping into Blades in the Dark with me. I love this game. I love running this game. I love playing this game. And with a cast like this, it can't be beat. So please, everybody, if you're watching it here on Twitch, go take a look at it on YouTube. Please give us a thumbs up and a comment. It apparently really helps with the algorithm. And we all love Garblight Games. We want to see it succeed. If you're watching it on YouTube, check out the Twitch TV channel for some of our other shows. Also, please join our Discord community. From what I understand, there's over 700 of us there now, milling about, talking about role-playing games, books, movies, TV, etc., and having a blast at it. We're all on there all the time talking about things. So if you've got questions about the game, if you think that I'm being way too harsh as a games master, or you think my decisions on their positions are way off, hey, I'm more than happy to chat about that with you. Other than that, thank you very much. We're gonna cut out with giving everybody an opportunity to tell us a little bit about what they're doing for next week. So, Pat, what are we finding on Diesel Shot next week?
Oh, thank you. All right, cool. Glad to get the start on. So, my name is Pat, aka Spider Queen Long. You can find me on Twitter at @long_spider. And this week on Diesel Shot, I'm reclaiming my Saturday time slot, baby. 8:30 p.m. EST tomorrow. You can find me on Diesel Shot, my Twitch channel. And I will be doing a little bit of Change Stars, the game that we are so close to being finished with and publishing. And you can find us doing something called the Tantif game. It's a one-shot with mercenary bad guy characters as they try to rescue a war criminal from the good guys and get them off to the bad guys so that they can do bad things, hypothetically. And then you can find us also same place, similar time, 8:30 p.m. EST for on Monday for our ongoing D&D campaign, The High Roads. We might be doing something Thursday, not quite sure about that, but I will be running Saturdays from now on, 8:30 p.m. EST on Diesel Shot, so you can find us there and find us square. And
Thanks,
I'm
Pat.
also on Party Web Games, 4:00 p.m. EST, but I don't advertise that here because y'all are Garblog and you do something in the same time slot. I'm not trying to futz about on that. But you can find me on Party Web Games. They're cool people. Check us out on Twitter. All right.
Ty, what do you got going on this week?
0. Technically, actually, I on not that I should probably start putting them on YouTube because I've been running like Legends of the Five Rings for some fine folks that it doesn't get I don't. It's an amazing samurai system. Love it. And of course, continuing to run Forbidden Lands, but you can find the stuff I have posted recently on YouTube, which will be under Fool the DM, and every single other social media will also be Fool the DM because it's perfect.
Do we get a prize if we actually fool the DM?
You do.
Of course.
You don't die. That's the
exactly.
Jeff, how about the lollygaggers?
Yeah, so in about 4 hours on twitch.tv/lollygaggers, I'll be in my third game of the day, as I'll be running some Mothership over there. Tomorrow, I'll be running One Ring 2nd Edition, is our Saturday ongoing game. And then Monday, we'll be back to Deadlands for Savage Worlds, so Weird West stuff, and that'll be Monday. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
Big fun. Ben, what are we
the
doing on
Garblag plot dump. Okay, so that's this week on Garblag. Next week on Garblag, on Monday, we've got City of Mist with a fine bunch of guest stars from all over the interwebs. Tuesday, we've got Coriolis, which is shaping up to be very interesting indeed. Wednesday, Once Upon a Time in the Old World for the finale? No, we probably got at least 2, maybe 3 more episodes to go before we're breaking this season in half. At least that's my understanding. We're gonna get everything we need to assault the Wizard's Tower, and the next season we would be assaulting the Wizard's Tower. Excellent. So still Once Upon a Time in the Old World on Wednesdays for a while. Thursday, Europe, we've got Nye running a one-shot. And Thursday night, North America, Achtung Cthulhu.
Jeff and I will be deep in Nepal, along with our long-lost brother, the baguette-wielding French ninja, Henri.
French? I still don't understand.
It's not really a country. He makes it up. I don't know.
He's a weird guy.
And then Friday, we're back with the second half of our little heist and our death, and then we can all make new characters, and that will take up the rest of the session.
So we'll have a good heist, and we'll probably get into downtime, I would expect, next week, with, fingers crossed, all of these same characters.
And if you're into those kinds of things, you can also find me on Start Playing Games, the Pro GM website, where I've got a couple of games opening up, starting up, and currently ongoing that you are more than welcome to investigate at your leisure. Otherwise, I will shut everything down now. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night.